Welcome everybody to another episode of On Purpose Talk. Yes, and it has been a little bit of a while. We weren't forgetting about any of you. That's if that's if you guys were even missing us.
Yeah.
But you know what? I did have a couple of people still ask me, "Hey, I like your podcast. What's going on? I haven't seen you post anything." This weekend I had a gig out in Scottsdale Plaza, and a big shout out to Ed and Ann who showed up. They're like, "We love your." They called it radio broadcast.
Oh, that's
I was like, the podcast. I was like, yeah. Like, we love your podcast. So big shout out to Ann and Ed for showing up, dancing, and that was fun.
Yeah,
actually was a lot of fun.
Yeah, lovely couple.
Yeah, they are.
I love watching them dance.
Yeah, it's just, dancing has there's something freeing about it. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
You know what dancing kind of does.
But and it's beyond that, like them as a couple. Mm-hmm. Like, I love seeing them because I can tell there's like a lot of stuff in between them. Like, it's a beautiful...
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's like a beautiful energy between both of them. And I don't know if they've ever known that or anybody else has told them. I'm sure people, they've told them. But it's a nice thing to see. You don't see that a lot. You see a lot of couples dancing, and it's, whatever. Everyone's into themselves or whatever. But when they're dancing, I can tell, like, he's into her and she's into him. And I love that.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And they just got married, so they're a newlywed.
Yeah, congratulations.
They got to hear me sing a new young tune that I had learned not too long ago, because we just did that show at the MIM in February when I played with Connie, and we did that, so I learned that song. I started kind of like putting it in my repertoire, but they hadn't heard me sing it, so I was able to sing it to them, and they're really happy because that's their song.
Oh, that's sweet.
So it's kind of nice. So hope you guys are doing okay. Things have somewhat gotten back to normal. I mean, I am singing in town, but not really. And when I say not really, because it was like, I mean, I was literally singing like 8-9 times a week. Mm-hmm. And so it's not like that at all. But
yeah, lots has changed.
A lot has changed, yeah. A lot. But what about you? What are you doing that's changed?
I've been trying to just stay busy.
So what are you doing that's busy?
And staying home.
Now, you are a homebody for sure.
I love home.
You do. And like, if it was up to you, your ideal day is PJs all day.
Yeah.
Puppies in the couch.
Yeah.
You in the couch, me in the couch.
Yeah.
Hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
I actually like that part of my day whenever I get to do that. Especially when I come back from a gig, or that's kind of a nice way to chill.
I like being active too, and I like doing things, but
But you have been active.
Yeah.
So I mean, your lifestyle has been a lot different, and you are chilling at home. But you've been active. Do you want to share a little bit of what you've been doing?
Yeah, I've been, and actually in the beginning of our very first podcast, or might have been second one, I did talk about all the projects I wanted to do throughout the year. And, somewhere along like 2 months ago, I realized like, okay, I said that and I haven't started, or I haven't like worked on that much. So I told myself, okay, I need to put things into play here. I need to action, know? And so I started writing because I want to do like a series of children books. And so I started doing that, drawing a lot. Because at first my thought was like, I'll sketch out the drawings that I want, the characters that I want, and I'll probably hire like an illustrator. But then I was like, no, you know what? I think it'd be fun if I just push myself a little bit more and work on that. I know I'm not a professional illustrator or anything like that.
But I love these characters you're doing.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm not saying that because I'm your husband. I'm saying that because I really love them. Like, they're so cute. And the way you're drawing them, I can tell that there's a lot of love involved in them. But you've been working really hard at it. I'm really proud of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I'm trying to give it my best. And, I know that I had already written out my first rough draft for my first book. and it was kind of ready to go, and I was like not happy 100%, so I redid the whole thing. And
last night we were watching your first drafts.
Yeah,
drawing. That's
very
cool.
first ones, and that was kind of funny.
So the book is going to be a children's book.
Yeah.
And you've illustrated everything.
Yeah. And
it tells a story, and you also wrote the story behind it all.
Yeah. I'm introducing, this is like the first book, so I'm introducing everybody in the book, like all of, it's called Dandy and Friends, and it's supposed to be when Dandy was little. Obviously.
So the character is Dandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she's got friends, and
then you got to get the book to find out who Dandy's friends are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they all have different gifts and talents, and so I'm kind of like introducing that along with who they are. And
what's your let's say I'm interviewing now.
Okay.
we're interviewing now Dandy, the book writer, the author. What is your goal with these books? What do you envision?
Obviously, to make children smile and laugh a little bit, and but my ultimate goal is to send a message, and my thing has always been encouragement. I believe that our kids, they can do so much. They can conquer the world if you push them to believe in themselves and believe in the dreams and the things that they want to do. And so I don't know how else to do it. I mean, I did it with my son because he was my son and he lived.
Right. Well, because you got to experience that. I mean, you understand the power of speaking into a child.
Yeah.
And speaking into their mind.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, I've learned this from you, just from watching you. And, I came into parenting a little later in his life. But just from how you've approached things, I've learned how important it is to speak something into a child, and what it means to uplift. And then what you sometimes think is not negative actually can be a negative thing.
Right.
Things I never thought about, like just a certain way of saying things that you were always very careful in choosing the right word so that they can understand that it's wrong, but at the same time, there's alternative ways to approach it. Why don't you do it this way? Why don't you, what I'm saying? And you were always very careful with that. And I've also I think analyzed myself, growing up and what was been told to me. And I was like, man, I probably believed that. I probably believed the stuff, my limitations, or as far as what I thought my limitations were, has been because it was implanted in me in my head. There's obvious limitations, unless you're 5'7" and can dunk a ball, you're not going to play basketball. I mean, it's just, what I'm saying?
Right.
Unless you're just, and there's been an exception, but for the most part, if you don't have the height, there's physical limitations that you probably won't be able to do. But the mind limitations are implanted very early on, from child. And what parents tell you, and sometimes what you think you can't do because it's in here, has nothing to do with physical, but it's in here.
Right.
Probably was in there because it was implanted in you at a very early age. And your parents thought they were probably, helping you, but sometimes it was, most likely it was hurting you.
Right. Well, what's ironic? That I see a lot of this. A lot of parents, they really support their children's activities as far as like sports and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of that. They're like, in the bleachers and they do signs and they're like their number one fans, right?
Yeah.
And I love that. That's great. It's a good thing. But I noticed that it's not the same kind of support for their schooling, for education, for like...
They're not the same cheerleaders when it comes to that.
It's weird. Like it's almost like they feel like I don't need to do that because they already get that in school. The teachers do that. That's their lifestyle. They go to school.
It could also be intimidation. They don't understand the work. They don't understand by high school, I don't think I would have been able to help Joy do any of his math work because I was like, man, this is way over my head.
Yeah.
That kind of intimidation could probably sometimes kick in.
But it's not, because come on, you're telling me like Joy was doing calculus like really early on. I had no idea, because that's up to where I didn't even go to calculus. So, but the thing is not, deal with the like the problem itself, like the math problem. The thing is like, you can do this, like let's find out, or let's get, let's investigate here. How are we gonna
champion his mind?
Yeah, like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, always speaking, stuff like that. And I noticed that parents, I love when I see that with their kids, like I said. But when it comes to that, or to like their dreams, like their real dreams, that their long-term dreams as a person, like their purpose. And I feel like sports and all that, and dance and all that, it's part of who they are. It's like it can definitely be a career, but realistically if most of the time it won't be. I mean, come on, the NBA can only have a certain amount of players. The Hollywood or entertainment business could only have a certain amount of famous singers, actors, and you name it, right? So it's those things, like even then it's not impossible. If we carry them, if we speak those things into their lives, like if we make it seem like reachable, like you can accomplish that, you can attain it. It just requires sacrifice, and like exactly like what you have to do to be in a basketball team. That means you have to go to practice, you have to sweat, you have to come back home. You don't want to do your homework, but you have to do your homework, take a shower. Like, it requires sacrifices.
One of the principles that come with it.
Yeah. And I feel like, and sometimes parents are too tired to even deal with all that. You as a parent, you go to work and you have problems of your own. You have to worry about, making sure there's food on the table, making sure. So I feel that maybe that's where, and me too, us as parents, like sometimes there's spots and places where we lack a little bit. And so I don't know. I think that nowadays, especially, that we put our kids, we give them iPads and we give them like all this entertainment kind of. I'm like, why not create, a book that can be fun, sweet, and at the same time it can be, educational, and it can bring encouragement into their lives.
Well, I think you're definitely, that goal is definitely happening with your books.
Oh, I hope so.
I think it is, and I can't wait for you guys to check it out. It should be out soon.
Yeah,
we already put it up there. We're waiting on the.
Yeah, the whole process, it takes a little bit.
Yeah, but it should be out, and hopefully we'll announce it. Make sure you follow DandyThingz, and we should have the website up too. Will be DandyDollies.com. Mm-hmm. So I love that purpose, and I love this topic of speaking into stuff, because I just thought about something. Sometimes, like because I'm a puppy owner. Mm-hmm. I'm a puppy parent, and I have 2 dogs, and the one thing I've noticed is the consistency I have to keep with them in order for them to do and behave, just certain behaviors I need them to. They're not perfect, and I still have a lot of work to do, but it takes time. It takes the training. And a lot of people spend a lot of time with their dogs in the early stages, because they know that eventually they're going to become adults really quick, and they don't worry about it no more. And they never, and kids to become adult, it takes a long time. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we forget how long the marathon is, and we want things to happen right away. And our frustration are taken to the child or children because of our impatience, really. Mm-hmm. And I think just breathe a little bit, step back, and just relax, and realize that it's a process. It's an ongoing process. Motherhood, fatherhood is an ongoing process, and it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It doesn't really stop.
No.
And there's different stages how you process your parenthood, but the goal is always to eventually parent and teach and make sure that they grow into independent young men and women.
Yeah.
Right? That's always the goal. So if you always keep the goal in mind, then you understand the process is long.
Yeah.
Think about the process with you. I'm sure some of you guys still live at home with your parents.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that process is way too long and overdue, but, you know, they're still being patient with you.
Yeah.
So there is a process to all that. And you know, what you say now, how you speak to them and how you uplift them and how you encourage them and how you teach them has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where you're coming for.
Yeah, that's kind of
with this
like
book.
what I want to create, you know, and of course I have many other little like with Dandy Dollies I have like other ideas. Actually, it's so funny because Dandy Dolly started 10 years ago, and it was actually it started as like I created like little phone cases, right, out of felt.
Out of felt.
Yeah.
You were sewing them by hand.
Yeah.
And Dandy Dollies, all they were was like little doll figures.
Yeah.
That you created. You have this certain way of drawing, and you made like little dandies. Like, you know, they're just little cartoon version of yourself.
With big hair, big size heads. I have something about that.
They're
Actually,
freaking cute.
My inspiration, I think, a lot of it comes from like as a little girl. Like I grew up watching Strawberry Shortcake. You know, that was like a little character. I had a huge head, you know, like a huge hat. And then I love Hello Kitty, again, big head character.
Yeah.
You know, like
it does have a Japanese feel.
Yeah,
style to it.
It's like a kawaii kind of like cutesy kind of look.
Now you do have some Japanese in you, right?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. And I don't know if it's I've always been fascinated with that kind of animation, like that kind of cutesy look. I find it very, very sweet, you know. Ironically, when I was little, I didn't like a lot of girly stuff. Like I was not that girly. But the only thing I did like was like those dolls, you know. And I didn't like them necessarily like in the dolls, like to play with them. I liked them like in T-shirts and clothes and stuff like that. So I think that's where my inspiration, like that kind of cute, of course, Disney. It's in there.
We can't forget that.
Yeah, but in Disney, it's more like the whole Peter Pan characters, like more like that I was fascinated.
How you doing in your mind now that Disney's closed?
I'm dealing with it.
I know, we can't wait for it to open.
Yeah. I'm being patient though.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
I think you don't have a choice.
Yeah, no choice.
Yeah,
but yeah, and then of course Tim Burton. He's one of my favorite, you know, directors, authors, illustrators. You know, he's just amazing. He's just an artistic person, and I totally like his stuff. Although his stuff can be a little bit on the dark side, I still find beauty in it. You know, I probably would eventually do something to that effect. I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
Some things you're just it's just not you know. So I'm trying to discover in all of this like who I am as, you know, as an, if I want to call it an illustrator. It's weird because I don't think, you know, but you know, they're my little creations, and I love I love it. Like I actually love drawing them out. I love like, you know, erasing them all over again and then redoing them, and my goodness.
Oh yeah, you've been working. I mean, it's every day for sure. Every day, even on the weekends, you've been nonstop. I'm very, very proud of you. Only because I know that you got determined this year to really do this, and I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great piece of work. And you put your mind to it and you're doing it, and I'm really proud of you. And I love seeing, you know, what you're creating. I like seeing how your mind works. It's always interesting. My wife is fascinating because sometimes she'll tell me her idea and I don't get it. I'm like, huh? And then when I'm seeing it, I'm like, oh. Mm-hmm. And that happens a lot with our dynamic, because I'm not in her head and she's not explaining it well, or I'm just dumb. Most of the time, it's probably the second one. But
no, I think it's me. I know what I see in my mind.
Yeah, no, you definitely do. And then once I'm seeing it happen, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it.
I'm just probably not very like good in describing or.
I think you just get so excited. You're excited on how you're describing it that you just.
It doesn't make sense. It's just probably.
Well, a lot of times my mind was like, how is she gonna do this? And I'm like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
So that's for sure. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for your book. I'm excited for that release, and let's see what happens. I hope you guys are on the lookout for it. Make sure you follow her.
Yeah, because
social media stuff.
alongside with my book, I'm also doing like little postcards and like just many ways of like introducing the characters, and I just don't want to keep it in just the book itself.
Yeah.
I'm trying to create like
goodies.
Yeah.
We'll just keep it like that.
Yeah.
Goodies so that everybody.
Yeah. So, if anything, if you don't have children and you think that, a book wouldn't make sense, there's going to be other little ways that you can like, if you like it, if it's something of your interest. But, they're cute.
They are. That's awesome. Well, I'm so excited. I'm glad we're doing the podcast again. It was about time.
Yeah, we took a break. I needed to focus on, that and other stuff. And then
and then sometimes it would just be like, oh, we got to do one and we forget.
Yeah, no. And then we've had like, we've reached out to friends, like, because we wanted to continue inviting friends. But this whole ordeal, I'm sure it's been a change for everybody, not just us. It's been,
I want to give a shout out to all the people who've had coronavirus and had to go through that. And a shout out to people who are going through it.
Yeah.
And, hang in there. If there's anything we could do, pray for you guys. Let us know.
And we have been praying for all of you guys.
Yeah. We've, I'm sure you guys have stories, of people that you knew that either had it and went through it pretty tough, or sadly the ones that have left us because of it.
Yeah.
Those are always the tough ones, but I believe we're going to get through this. There is a reason for all this for sure. It's making us reflect and really think about what really matters.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that that's, the case for all of us. I know that there's some people, they're like, whatever, it's just another flu and whatever,
Yeah, don't be careless. And even if you don't care for it, care about the mind of other people.
Yeah, but that's usually not the case, because if you don't even care about your self-being, like...
Well, I at least would wish that if you don't care about your own self-being, that you would care about the mind of someone else's self-being. Like, let's say you don't care and you don't think it's whatever, okay? But some other person goes through it differently and you don't know their background. You don't know if their family member's gone through it. You don't even know if they've had a loss. And by you standing up, acting like whatever, you're, kind of like disrespecting someone else's.
Well, what I feel like this whole thing has made me see? It has only magnified who you are, who you truly are. Like, if you're a person that is careless and you don't care, that tells me where you are in your heart. And I always think about this. I think about the day that I have to meet my creator, my maker, and I think about the things that I did do, and the things that I'm going to be accountable for. But I also think about the things that, what if I am going to be told, like, you could have done this and you didn't because it was not convenient to you, or because you didn't care for others. Like, I think about that. Like, what if all this that's happening, it's a test? I see it as a test. I see it as like...
It definitely is a test.
Like, you're being tested in your heart, in your mind, and the way you are going about it.
We're being tested in our humanity.
Yeah.
How we really feel about each other. There's a lot of people who say they love people. But they only love people if the people think like them. Or if they pat them on the back and say, oh, you must be right. Oh, you're always right, blah, blah. But if they don't think like you, if they don't have your mentality, then I don't see the love anymore.
Yeah.
And that's That's a harsh reality. I know it's always been there. I mean, I'm not naive, but I think this time it has shown its face even uglier. It's an ugly face. It really is. And, I hope you can rethink that. I hope us as a society can reflect and go, okay, regardless of what we think, regardless of how politically we think, regardless of where we are in our minds, from a human standpoint, are we benefiting each other by this, by how we're treating each other? That's just it.
Yeah.
It's got to come down to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Being considerate, just being considerate. And like, I've tried my best not to go. If I don't have a business going out and just hanging out at a place, I don't go.
Yeah.
That's just me. I'm not judging anybody. Everybody can do whatever they want, but I'm gonna try my best to do my part, because I can be a carrier. I can come home and give my son something, or like, why would I want to do that? Yeah. Like, I just don't want to. If I can avoid it, you know what? It's okay. It's going to come to the time where this craziness probably is going to die down a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to change, because nothing will ever be the same again. I know that's it. This has pretty much, it's just the beginning of a lot of change. And I get that. So I don't think things will go back to normal. Like that mentality of like, oh, we'll go back to, it's not going to happen. I just don't see it happening, but I know it's got to die down. And then I can do all the things I used to do and go crazy and, go out and do what I used to do. Go to the stores. I don't know about crazy.
Her crazy is going to Disneyland. That's crazy.
No, but like I used to go shopping or go, especially working on projects. Like right now, I'm working on so many little things that I wish I can run to Joann's and Hobby Lobby right away. Yeah,
you think about it a lot more.
Yeah. And I'm like, my whole lifestyle has changed. Like now everything's online. Like, I can't touch it. I can't feel it. I'm like, oh, I hope I'm buying the right stuff. I hope that, to me, that's like a sacrifice per se. I know it's dumb, but I wish I can go and I wish I can see things. But I'm like, no, what's more important right now? So I just try. Those are puppies.
Yeah, that's actually Linus by the door. He wants to get out.
Yeah. Do you want me to open it for him?
Try it. Try to see.
It never fails with our doggies.
It's like, we're not in the sofa. He probably wants to drink water or something. He doesn't like being confined. If there's no freedom, then he finds it weird that he can't have freedom to do something. So anyways, as she's letting out Linus, I think this is a good podcast. I think we should call it an episode. Thank you guys again for hanging out with us and listening to us. We're excited to be back and doing it, and be on the lookout for her new book.
Yeah,
Dandy and Friends will be available all digitally and physically soon.
Yeah,
we'll let you know about that and let you know about the website coming up. So make sure you also follow our social media at On Purpose Talk on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and make sure you follow her social media so you can see when the announcement of the new stuff coming out, and all the goodies are going to be coming out from that too. I think there's going to be some cool stuff. I think you guys are going to like it.
Yeah,
that should be fun.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah. All right, guys. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Peace out.